You don't need musicians to make music like this, just an ear for sound and a flair for electronics. The only snag is that making the synthesizer work is an incredibly complex business. It took something like 2 hours, for instance, to prepare this little arrangement. So is the Moog really a musical instrument or just a kind of musical computer? Bruce Clark.
It's a composer's machine. Once the composer gets familiar with the various modules and discovers what they do. At the moment, many of them are still a mystery to me. Basically, there are 4 sections. This section here creates the sounds, the section along the bottom and this section mixes it, these shape it, and that section controls it. But it has many advantages apart from its electronic producing, sound producing sources. It can reshape conventional instruments. It can give new life to things like trombones and things that have been a bit overawed by the rock groups of today. You know, they play so loud that you can't really hear the poor old trombone player who 5 or 10 years ago was the loudest man in the band. But I think the way we will use the machine, we will record straight music and then add this to it after. We will occasionally do a whole lot of original stuff on it, but these would not replace musicians. It will run beside it. It would be a new source of our work. And we will do a fair amount where we put the conventional musicians through a device like this.
Well, how about a demonstration of this? Because you've got a musician here. Can we just have a look at how you'll be using it in conjunction?
Well, I'll pull a bit of this out and we'll have a go. I'll require this box and I'll require a flute. Dick, will you come over with your flute? These ones are here. Now, with the conventional flute, today it's been completely overridden by rock guitar players. If you see a flute in a rock group, unless you've got a very strong PA system, the flute player just doesn't make it. So by putting a microphone inside the flute here and passing it through this gear, we can get a sound like this. Now we can change the colour of that, or you can play the part of 2 flutes. One ordinary flute and one bass flute playing there. Now, by turning all these off and using this end, the flute can sound like a tambourine. Or we'll have a straight flute, a bass flute and a tambourine. Now, if you play on the keys, Dick, we can get a full percussion sound, all out of the flute. So it means that these type of devices make the instruments have a wider range. They create more work. They also create. You get people that say, "Well, look, he's actually doing the work of 3 or 4 people there." But that's not quite so, because when it extends the flute, it also extends the other instruments, and you've just got a whole new range of colour where the trumpet player, where Dick may sound here, that he may get in the way of the percussion player. With devices like this, the percussion player gets a new lease of life too.
Well, Bruce, I can certainly see that it opens up all sorts of possibilities, but what specific application do you think this is going to have to advertising?
Well, the main thing it has to advertising is that here is a machine that can create sounds that have not been heard before. You can make a sound that would be of use to could be associated with a particular product, and that could be his sound forever, and you could stay out of that area.
What do you mean exactly? An electronic sound?
It could be an electronic sound. It could be a sound effect. It could be, say, just something simple like. Now, the noise I'm going to make here it's a sound effect. If you can imagine a strange product, a sort of a whistle for people who can't whistle. I should imagine that the client may come in and say, with a script and say, we'd like to have some music that sounds like a person who can't whistle. Now, we'd maybe create a sound like this, which is something after the style of a person who can't whistle. Here's a man who can't whistle. Here's a lady who can't whistle. A little boy who can't whistle. Now, the client may get rather a kick if we take the sound of a batch of people who can't whistle and turn that into a tune. We may play a thing like this. And you've got another great commercial, and that sound wouldn't be used on any other product.